The origin of the Kirat people of Nepal can be tracked in combination of three races. According to the Kirat Mundum or tradition, three races are Kambos, the Mongols, and the Chinese. The Kirats were the aborigines of northeastern Himalayas. They came to Nepal in about 700 BC and ruled over it. They were short and had strong bodies, broad cheeks, flat nose, and dark eyes. They were well trained in the art of warfare and were very skillful archers. They were the ancestors of the present-day Kiratas, Kulung, Tulung, and Yelung. Yelambur, the first Kirati king of Nepal, belonged to the Yelung clan. Altogether, there were 29 kings of this dynasty who ruled over Nepal for about 1225 years. Kirats ruled over Nepal from about 900 BC to 380. On the basis of the Puranas and other ancient religious texts, it is presumed that the Kiratas ruled in Nepal after Gopal and Maispal dynasty. The first king of Kiratas was Yelambur, who defeated Bhuvan Singh, the last king of Maispal dynasty, and established Kirat rule in Nepal. Yelambur extended his kingdom as far as the Testa river in the east and Trisuli river in the west. He shifted the capital of central Nepal from Yelung to Thankut after his conquest. The ancient city Patan was known as Yala, probably a name derived from Yelambur. Kirati king Yelambur is believed to be the barbaric of Mahabharata, son of Khatozkach and grandson of Bhima. At the start of Kurukshetra war, King Yelambur was preparing to leave Nepal and go to the war to witness the battle firsthand, with a view to taking the side of the losing party. As Lord Krishna was with the Pandavas, Pandavas can never lose this battle. So, Yelambur will have to support Kauravas, as Yelambur had promised his mother that he will take a side of the losing army. It is said that Yelambur was an extremely strong warrior who had 3 arrows given to him by Lord Shiva, which could destroy everything in his command. Knowing the intention and strength of Yelambur, Lord Krishna thought the war would be unnecessarily prolonged if Yelambur sided with the Kauravas. Krishna explains the complexity of Yelambur's promise to his mother. Whichever side Yelambur was going to support will win the battle. But the problem is that if Yelambur fights on the side of Pandavas, then Kauravas will become weak. And if Yelambur fights on the side of Kauravas, then Pandavas' side becomes weak. Therefore, Yelambur have to constantly switch sides to support the other side that has become weaker because of the promise Yelambur made to his mother. In this way, Yelambur will keep oscillating between Pandavas and Kauravas and ends up destroying armies on both sides. Thus, none of the sides became victorious and Yelambur would be the lone survivor of the war. So, by a clever stroke of diplomacy, Lord Krishna asked for the head of Yelambur. After seeing the divine form of Lord Krishna, Yelambur agreed to give his head to Lord Krishna. But before sacrificing his head, Yelambur asked Lord Krishna to fulfill his desire of watching the entire battle, since Yelambur will not be able to participate in the battle. Lord Krishna agreed to this. Yelambur cut his head off and gave it to Krishna. Lord Krishna placed Yelambur's head on top of a hill from where Yelambur could witness the entire battle. After the battle ended, Pandavas starts arguing that who is the greatest warrior among themselves and who is responsible for their victory against Kauravas. Krishna suggested Pandavas to ask Yelambur's head. Yelambur is the best person to judge since he had witnessed the complete war. When Pandavas asked Yelambur, he said that it was Krishna alone who is responsible for their victory. Krishna's advice, his presence, his game plan had been very crucial. Likewise, the head of Akash Vairab, god of the sky, which is at Indrachok, is worshipped as the idol of Yalambur. Hindu myth also has many incidents where the god Shiva emits a married Kirati girl who later became Parvati. Altogether, there were 29 kings of this dynasty who ruled for Nepal for about 1225 years. Kiratas ruled over Nepal from about 900 BC to 380. The 29 Kirat kings were: number 1, Yalambur; 2, Pavi; 3, Sunder; 4, Balamba; 5, Riti; 6, Humati; 7, Kirat Dynasty; 8, Galinja; 9, Puska; 10, Suryarma; 11, Papa; 12, Bunka; 13, Swananda; 14, Stunko; 15, Chingri; 16, Nane; 17, Luka; 18, Tor; 19, Toko; 20, Burma; 21, Guja; 22, Puskar; 23, Kisu; 24, Suza; 25, Sansa; 26, Gunam; 27, Kimbu; 28, Patuka; and 29, Gasti. Broadly speaking, the Kirat people include the Sunar, Yakha, Rai, Limbu, few segments of Dewan, Bahing, Kulung, and speakers of Kaling, Bantawa, Chamling, Tulung, and Jerung, and other related ethnic groups. The Kirat were the earliest inhabitants of the Kathmandu Valley, and many newer caste groups are believed to have descended from them. The Kiratis were not only good warriors but also good administrators. Men and women were treated equally. Criminals were given severe punishment. Nepal had trade relations with Tibet, China, and India. The exports of Nepal mainly consisted of wool, woolen goods, wood, and herbs. Kautilya or Chanakya in his Arthashastra says that Nepali woolen blankets were very popular in the market of Magadha, presently Bihar and modern India. People took interest in business rather than in agriculture. The main religion of the Kiratas was Hinduism. They worshipped Lord Shiva, serpents, tree, stones, etc. The image of Kirateswar Mahadev and Virupaksha show the standard of architecture of the Kiratas. Buddhism also flourished under the Kiratas. The stupas, pagodas, and temples were all built on the model of Buddhist art. The Kiratas developed a number of towns. The thickly populated centers were Sankamul, Thankut, Khopong or Bhaktapur, Kopase, Sanga, Teku, etc. The second Kirati king, Yalambur's successor, and his son Palamba's title was Kiratisur, who built a town close to Thankut, presumably later became the current Kirtipur. The sixth Kirat king was Humati Han when Arjun and Mahabharata visited Nepal, where Arjun learned special fighting skill Pasupatastra from the Kirat feudal chief. Legends are found that during the regime of sixth Kirat king Humati, a war was fought between Kirat disguised Mahadev and Arjun. Arjuna's interaction with the Kirat are described in both the Mahabharata and Skanda Purana, which tells the story of Arjuna fighting with Kirat hunter, then discovering that it was Mahadev. Properly addressing Shiva as Mahadev, Arjun began forgiveness and humbly prayed for the blessing to acquire Pasupatastra. Lord Shiva, in a related pastime with Arjuna, is described as taking the form of a Kirat hunter. Shiva is described as sometimes assuming the form of Kiratas and roaming the earth. During the reign of 7th Kirati king, Kirat Dynasty, Gautama Buddha visited the Nepal valley along with his disciples. Gautama Buddha visited the shrines of Swayambhu and Guheswari and praised his doctrine. There are also references to the fact that Jitadasti fought in the Battle of Mahabharat from the Pandava side. During the rule of Stunko, the 14th king of the dynasty, about 250 BC, the Indian Emperor Asoka came on a pilgrimage to Lumbini, Nepal. To mark the birthplace of Gautama Buddha, the Indian Emperor Asoka made inscription engraved on rocks and set up a stone pillar. The stone pillar of Asoka was unknown until a German Indologist, Alois Anton Führer, engraved it. The Indian Emperor Asoka also visited different parts of Nepal Valley along with his daughter Charumati. To commemorate the visit, Asoka got 4 stupas erected in 4 quarters and one in the central part of Lalitpatan, the modern Patan. They exist even to this day. The Lagan Stupa in the south, the Teta Stupa in the east, Pucho Stupa in the west, and Ibai Stupa in the north. Asoka's visit to Kathmandu is testified by the fact that he gave his daughter Charumati in marriage to Devpal, a Kshatriya prince. Charumati settled near Pasupati and founded a town called Devpatan in the memory of her husband Devpal. Charumati also got a bihar erected for herself, which was called Charumati Vihar. The surroundings are known today as Chabahil. In this way, after the visit of Asoka, Buddhism flourished in the Nepal Valley. Another religion, Jainism, contemporary of Buddhism, was founded by Mahavir Jain in India. It is said that during the reign of Jingri, the 15th Kirat king, one of the disciples of Mahavir Jain named Bhadra Bahu entered Nepal in about 300 BC and introduced Jain religion in Nepal. During the reign of King Patuka, the 20th Kirati king, the Soma dynasty kings attacked Nepal several times. King Patuka had to leave Gokarna because of the repeated attacks of the Soma dynasty from the west. So, King Patuka then settled in Sankamul. The last Kirati king was Gasti, who was defeated by Nimisa of the Soma dynasty, and the Kirati rule came to an end. Thus, Nimisa became the first king of Soma dynasty in about 205 AD. After the defeat, the Kirats moved to the eastern hills of Nepal and settled down, divided into small principalities. Their settlements were divided into 3 regions, that is, Walla Kirat, that lay to the east of the Kathmandu, Mas Kirat or Central Kirat region, and Pallo Kirat that lay to the far east of Kathmandu Valley. These regions are still heavily populated by Kirats even today. It is also believed that Chaisal of Patan city is the place where 800 Kirat warriors were massacred. It is believed that Chaisal is the final battlefield of Kiratas. Around 250 AD, Lichavis from ancient Bihar attacked 800 Kiratas around Chaisal, Patan. In Newari language, 800 means Chiasa, and the town was named Chiasa. Later, it was pronounced as Chaisal. Thank you.